Hey, thanks for joining me again. And today what we're going to do is we're going to take a look at Ford Motor Company and see if the stock is a buy, what did the charts tell us, and some insight overall based on the technicals. Let's check it out. But before I continue, keep in mind none of these are recommendations to buy, sell, or trade anything, just my own personal opinion. All right, so let's kick things off. I've got Ford Motor Company here. And one thing, there's a lot of stocks right now that are, especially like Tesla, that are fueling some of these things because people are buying into the car stuff. So there things are regarding car manufacturers are in mind because Ford also is doing some electrical vehicles, or at least they're kind of going in that direction. So every car company is now kind of competing against kind of, you could say, the Tesla. So it's all pushing in that direction. You might say, hey, not really competing because Tesla is just so powerful. But really, the investor's mind is thinking about cars. That's my point. So when we take a look at this and we start evaluating kind of just Ford Motor Company here, you can take a look at the monthly chart. And when you really start looking at the monthly, I mean, this is even before we even get into the monthly. Let's see if we can even go further. We can do like a quarterly chart. What you'll notice here is stock went up here, like, 1985s. We had a massive, nasty pullback. Here's 2008, 2009. So we had a lot of pressure here. Finally, it got a little bit of a wind. This was down at around $1. So kind of a nice stable area is right around this price point. And you can see that was in the 90s and also here in, about 30 years later. So that price point's around $5. And now that stock's kind of started to move. So this is where we're getting kind of this movement trend to the upside, right? Now, if you look at it from a historical standpoint, right here, we're still far below those levels. And if you look at what's going on recently, we're actually starting to break out past the 2010 and 2016 levels. So if you're thinking about this, well, am I a short-term investor, long-term investor, medium-term investor? From a longer-term investor, this could be a nice, interesting point. From a medium term, could be nice. From a shorter term investor, we will see here as we get and dig a little deeper. So let's get into the kind of the monthlies now that you have a bigger overview. And you can see from a month to month perspective, right here, right around $20, the stock is making even more moves. Now, yes, we did have this descending trend line and then nice breakout there. $5 was kind of like, man, that was a cheap stock, right? So it started getting some action past the 10 and then pushing forward. So let's zoom in a little more. One thing I want you to point out here is take a look. This is a possible ABCD pattern. And if we look at the ABCD pattern right here, A to B, B to C, C to D, you've got a lot of leg room here that still is possible because that stock breakout is right around that $16, $17 level. So you still got some room. And then not to mention, even after that breakout, you might get a little pullback and then further continuation. So you don't know how that'll behave and react. But right now you're seeing, hey, around that 15 is still continuing to trend well. And one thing also I want to pay attention to is look at this volume down here. So when you look at the volume, okay, the volume is very, very weak during the last kind of 10-year consolidation. But now look at the volume that's picking up. So if you look at just the sheer fact of buyers stepping up, a lot of these are not retail people. These are also institutions. So there's a ton of volume that's coming in, and this is on a monthly basis. So you're looking at, lots and lots of volume, billions of shares coming in. So as we check this out, and we start getting into the weekly time frame, you can see it's moving and working well. So here's kind of our upward trend line. And then if you want to look at it from a channel, we went there, we had a little pullback. This is where that ABCD pattern that I'm kind of keeping an eye on right here. And now it's possible that we've got kind of this next leg. But every time we're moving up, look at the volume. It's good volume on the upswings. And when we get pullbacks, the pullbacks actually are on lighter volume. So this is typically a nice healthy pattern, even from a shorter term perspective. And in this case, where shorter term is looking at kind of a swing trading. Now, if we get into actual kind of more day-to-day, week-to-week perspective, or a much shorter term duration, very active trading. So now we know on the longer term, it's starting to move well. Medium term, it's doing well. And now take a look here as we look into this time frame here. It's also attempted to break out here with some volume, but it rejected it. Okay, so that was around the $21 price point. And now it's attempting to do so again, and it's moving well. So it's building into it. So what I'm saying is that on pullbacks, it's building, and you're starting to see this rounding upward pattern, and the volume is again starting to kind of pick up here after the new year. So this is the sideways action. So we've had sideways for about November, December, January as we start. So that's our sideways action. And now it's looking like it's again trying to push higher, right? After a nice move up, which we've had, as you saw in the longer term trend, then you're going to get a new kind of movement, whether it's to the upside or the downside. And in this case, we're getting a push again towards the upside for the time being. So anyways, this stock's looking fairly good. It does move kind of slow. So on a day-to-day basis, when we're looking at this stock, it does move kind of slow, but you know, if you're looking for a longer term hold, you can see the chart here, we're definitely moving well. And you might say, hey, well, I already missed it. Well, again, it depends on your time horizon. If you're looking for maybe the next couple months, maybe. But if we're looking at maybe the next 5 or 10 years, you know, this stock was in the past at 38.40. It doesn't mean it's going to get there, but you're still far away from that. So it might have some of these flows to the downside with time, and then it could continue back into that upside. My point is that overall, the stock got into that $5 level and even the $1 back here. And now you're seeing this kind of trend to the upside, and we're accelerating, and it's doing fairly well and healthy with a lot of volume coming in. But it is one you have to be more patient with because it's slower moving, and it is one that you definitely want to hold for the longer time frame if that's what you're kind of looking for, because otherwise it could whip you around a little bit because it does move slow. So be patient with it, let it do its thing and let it do its work, and because it is a little cheaper, slower moving, and it's one that also probably won't burn you as bad because of just because of the nature of the stock. You know, it's not like it's not as volatile. So anyways, just depends where it fits in, but I want to share with you some insights and critical levels, looking at it from multiple perspectives, multiple time frames, you know, seeing some of these critical levels that you'll be able to check out and see if it's of any interest to you. Right now, breaking above that 20, and that seems to be fairly healthy. If it can stay above there, you could see it continue moving forward. But even in this chart, if you're looking at it from a week-to-week basis or month-to-month, you can see even that took a full, you know, year, and now we're getting into 1.5 to 2 years on this trend. So it is one you'd have to be more patient with. Anyways, thanks for joining me in this video. Hope you enjoyed the little recap, and I'll see you in the next one.